The 2026 transfer portal is really good at the quarterback position, and today I'm going to be going over my top 10. Now, a bit of a disclaimer, it is December 22nd. I'm recording this at around 4:30 Central Time. There are still plenty of names that are on the bubble that could completely shake up this list. CJ Bailey, the quarterback from NC State, Bryce Underwood, the quarterback at Michigan, are the two names that I have circled as the most likely to hit the portal that haven't already. There are other names that we're not going to talk about in this video, like Bo Prabula, the transfer from Missouri. He battled injuries, but he's a name that's going to be pretty sought after. I also think Colton Joseph and Caton Hauser, the quarterbacks from East Carolina and Old Dominion. And I think Air Noland, the transfer from South Carolina. I think all three of those guys are going to have a robust transfer market. But today, we are going to talk about my top 10. There are some interesting names on here, to say the least, and I'm excited to break these down. But before we do, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. These aren't easy videos to make. It's such a easy thing to do, and it helps get this video out to so many college football fans like yourselves. But let's start at number 10, and I want to talk about Notre Dame quarterback Kenny Minchey. Minchey was a quarterback that didn't really see the field much, but when he got on the field, mostly in relief, he has shown really good flashes. He's got a 79.3% completion on 29 pass attempts throughout his career. Two big-time throws in there as well. He's 6'2", 208 pounds, has a really good arm, and he is a guy that was heavily recruited coming out of high school. A lot of people in the Tennessee area really wanted to get Kenny Minchey, and it's why I think both Tennessee and Memphis are the two most logical landing spots for Minchey, and I think Tennessee would make the most sense. He is an athletic quarterback that can make plays with his legs. He's got a good arm. He's relatively accurate. And in a Josh Heupel offense, I think his skill set could really fit what that offense wants to do with the vertical passing game and the way they like to implement the quarterback run game. Minchey is at number 10, however, because we haven't gotten to see him. He hasn't started a single game in his collegiate career, and there is still a lot to prove. But I think with the physical traits and upside, there is potential for Minchey to start in the SEC. I think he goes to either Tennessee or Memphis. At number 9 on my list is going to be Byron Brown. Byron Brown is a fan favorite in college football. However, I think a lot of people overrate who he is as a quarterback. He's 6'3", 232 pounds, and there are some really good things to like about him. He is a guy that accounted for more touchdowns than anyone in college football this past season. However, I think the accuracy concerns and the bad footwork do hurt him at times, and he averaged about a 3-second time to throw. But the physical traits with Byron Brown are phenomenal. He is one of the best athletes in the entire country, and when he gets a head full of steam, he is able to not just make plays with his legs, but he is able to bulldoze over defensive backs. He is such a powerful runner. He has an absolutely phenomenal arm. He's just got to put it all together, and I think the landing spot is pretty obvious. He is going to follow Coach Alex Golesh and go to Auburn. Auburn has been looking for an athletic quarterback that can make plays like this, and I think Byron Brown fits exactly what they want to do. With his athleticism, his arm, the familiarity with the coaching staff, I think all of that is going to come into play. And while I do think there will be a market for Byron Brown because people are going to fall in love with the traits, I think it's a pretty foregone conclusion that he is going to end up at Auburn with Coach Golesh. I think it's a good fit. We've seen the two of them have work really well together. He's ran for 31 touchdowns in his collegiate career. The ball security is going to have to get better. He's got 22 career fumbles, but he is a quarterback that with his athletic traits, I think is going to have a good market, and I think Auburn makes the most sense. The next name I want to talk about here is a quarterback that unfortunately didn't have the breakout season that so many were expecting, but that is Michigan State transfer Aiden Childs. Childs was a guy that coming out of Oregon State as a true freshman, many people thought that he was going to be this superstar quarterback with his athleticism, his arm talent. It's all there for Childs to really develop into being a star. But he had a really tough season for Michigan State. He had just 10 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, 6 big time throws to 8 turnover worthy plays, a completion percentage of 62.3, and he ended up getting benched after the Michigan game. But this is a quarterback that I'm not ready to give up on because there are moments of brilliance with Aiden Childs. And I think that the rest of the country is going to see something very similar. He is a phenomenal athlete. We've talked about it with the other three, but even with Childs, a guy that is 6'3", 225 pounds with a really good arm to make plays at all three levels. He's good on the run. He's got a lightning quick release. He has good footwork. I think everything is there for him to really piece it all together. He has to improve on his pocket presence. He has to improve the deep ball. And I do think that his decision making could improve as well. But I think in an offense that allows him to play an RPO style scheme, gets the ball out of his hands quickly, is going to do him a lot of good. I think a team like TCU would make a lot of sense for Aiden Childs to fit what he wants to do with the RPOs, the quick passing game, get it to the playmakers on the outside. That's where he had success early in his career. And I think if a scheme that can allow him to do that will get the most out of him. So I think Aiden Childs to TCU, maybe Nebraska, could make the most sense. At number 7 on my list is going to be another fan favorite in college football, and that is Rocco Becht. Now, Rocco Becht, I get why people love him, and there's a lot to like there. He has been awesome for Iowa State over the last couple of seasons. He is a gunslinger of a quarterback, a good arm, relatively accurate with the football. There are things to like. He's 6'1", 210 pounds. He's a hard quarterback to bring down. He works the middle of the field well. However, the size and the overall arm talent and accuracy are still all over the place. This is a quarterback that completed just 60% of his passes this year, 59% in 2024, and he still does have some issues with putting the ball in harm's way. He's had 27 career interceptions. He's not this incredible athlete, and I do think his overall ceiling is limited. But what he does give you, he gives you toughness in the pocket. He gives you the ability to work the middle of the field, and I do think he can make some really high leverage throws with the ball. I think it's pretty obvious where he's going to go as well. I think he's following his coach, Matt Campbell, and going to Penn State. And when you look at what Penn State has done with quarterbacks in the past, this kind of fits their type. I know it's a completely different coach and a completely different scheme, but they never really have these big-armed, great athletes at quarterback. They're usually just game managers, and I think that's really all Penn State needs. With Matt Campbell's resources, I think getting some familiarity in the locker room with a quarterback that he's had success with. Iowa State has been very competitive over the last 4 years with Rocco Becht as the starter, a guy that has over almost 10,000 yards passing throughout his college career. I think he follows his head coach and goes to Penn State. At number 6 on my list, now you can kind of start putting guys in any order you want to, but I think Dylan Raiola is a very interesting player because Raiola is a former 5-star recruit that has shown flashes of really good quarterback play. He's still just 20 years old, ended up dealing with an injury that shortened his season in 2025, but a guy that has the physical tools as well. But the turnovers have hurt him. This is a guy that had 6 interceptions in 2025, 11 interceptions in 2024. He's got 23 turnover-worthy plays throughout his career, and there are some areas he's going to need to improve upon. But he is a really good quarterback. He's got a lightning-quick release. He's got good arm talent, and at a guy that's still not even 21 years old, this is a guy that NFL general managers have their eye on, and I think he needs to go to a spot that has proven that they can develop quarterbacks. There are a couple of teams that have been brought up pretty often with Raiola, number 1 being Oregon, and I think he fits exactly the build that Oregon wants. He's very similar in terms of his size to a guy like Dante Moore or a Bo Nix, and I also think Louisville would make a lot of sense for him. They have developed quarterbacks very well over there in Louisville. Jeff Brom is the quarterback whisperer in college football that I don't think many people talk about. But if I'm Dylan Raiola, I think one of those two programs is where you're going to get the most out of him. He's got the arm talent. He's got the physicality and the traits. He needs to go to a spot that can develop quarterbacks. And if I were him, I think Louisville is a really good spot. It's in the ACC. It's got a coach that has developed NFL quarterbacks. I think Dylan Raiola is going to be the next quarterback for Louisville. At my number 5 spot, it's going to be low for some people, but I'm lower on this player than the consensus, and that is Arizona State transfer Sam Leavitt. Leavitt is a good quarterback, and going back to watching him in 2024, he was one of the most exciting quarterbacks in all of college football. But he had a significant drop-off in 2025 that I don't think enough people talked about. He really struggled to make plays in structure, and it's something you're going to have to be able to do if you want to be an NFL quarterback. But even further than that, he is a quarterback that took more sacks on 100 less dropbacks than he did in 2024. He's a quarterback that had more turnover-worthy plays than he did by double, and he just didn't look like the same guy. I thought the footwork was all over the place. The accuracy took a significant dip in 2025, and I think he has to be able to prove that he can build up his stock, because there were people saying that this could be a potential first-round pick at quarterback. If I'm Sam Leavitt, the answer is pretty simple. We talked about Oregon being a really good landing spot. I think this is the exact type of quarterback that Oregon looks for. He's got great arm talent. He's a great athlete that can make plays on the run. He's so good at creating outside of structure. He just has to be able to play within himself a little bit more. Take what the defense is giving him. Take checkdowns. Don't always look for the home run. There's potential here for Sam Leavitt to get back into being one of the best quarterbacks in college football. I know that the transfer rankings really like Leavitt. I need to see a little bit more from him. However, he is a very talented physical quarterback, and I think Oregon makes all the sense in the world for Sam Leavitt. My top 4 is really interchangeable. I think all of these guys have the potential to really elevate draft stock, but also really help carry their teams to potential national title spots. At first, I do want to talk about DJ Lagway, because I think a lot of people are down about DJ Lagway. And I did a whole video talking about why I think a lot of those concerns are very valid. He's 6'3", he's 247 pounds. The physicality and the traits are all there. But he is a quarterback that has very erratic mechanics right now. He's got 23 interceptions in 2 seasons. He has 25 turnover-worthy plays. And yet I still think there is potential for him to really break out in a big way. He has an incredible arm. If he can clean up some of the footwork, I think that can clean up a lot of his accuracy concerns. And I think there is potential here for him. I do still believe in DJ Lagway. Do I think he is going to be a number 1 overall pick candidate? As of right now, no. But I do think I would be willing to make an investment on him, especially if I'm a team like LSU, like Baylor, like Miami. I think those are the top 3 teams for Lagway that are looking for a quarterback that want to run some more air raid type of stuff. Lagway's got ties to the state of Florida, obviously now, but he would fit awesome with Lane Kiffin, and he could go back home to Baylor where his dad played. I think Lagway still got potential, and if I had to make a bet on where he ends up, I would say it will probably be Baylor. With them losing Sawyer Robertson, I think they have the money to go out, make a splash like this that could potentially return them to relevance in the Big 12 in the Big 2026. But my top 3 are pretty simple. At number 3, I've got Josh Hoover. I think Josh Hoover is a fantastic quarterback, a quarterback that I wish I would have been able to give you guys a full breakdown on. Unfortunately, I just didn't have the time for it. I think you look at the stats and you're like, all right, he's a good enough quarterback, but I don't think the stats do justice on how good Josh Hoover has been for TCU over the last couple of seasons. There are still areas of concern. I will get that out of the way right now. Hoover still has to prove that he can feel pressure better. He forces it into coverage a ton. The footwork is all over the place still. However, there are so many things to love about what he can do. He's got an incredible arm. He can hit receivers at all 3 levels, can throw at a bunch of different angles. He reads the field well. I think he is a high-level processor at the quarterback position. He can make some high-leverage NFL throws. He's a good athlete, too. I think he's pretty fast when he can turn the corner. He has 3 years of starting experience now for TCU. This is an Indiana Hoosier. Hoover, I would bet money that he ends up in Indiana because they run a ton of RPOs, and that is where Josh Hoover had the most success. I think this is a guy, Tennessee has been brought up a lot too, and I think that would also be a really good fit for him. But With his arm talent, the velocity on which he can throw the ball, he also has great touch. I really like Josh Hoover to either Indiana or Tennessee. At number 2 for me, it is Brendan Sorsby. I have talked about why I think he is the best quarterback probably in this portal. If you are looking for a one-year rental and a guy that can help get you to the national championship, a guy that could potentially be a Heisman candidate next year, I think Sorsby is awesome. 2,700 yards, 26 touchdowns, 5 picks this past season. He has gotten better each and every year of his career. He's got an incredible arm. He's got great speed. It feels like it's a foregone conclusion he's going to Texas Tech, and it makes so much sense for what Tech wants to do. They want to run a vertical offense. Sorsby fits that to a T. He's got an incredible arm. He is a guy that takes shots. The accuracy's got to improve. The footwork's got to get better. I think he is, from an NFL draft perspective, the quarterback that I have my eye on the most next year. I think he's headed to Texas Tech. I did a full breakdown on Brendan Sorsby. I will leave the link to that down in the description. If you want my full thoughts on him, I do believe he ends up at Texas Tech. And then finally, Drew Mestemaker is my number 1 player overall in the portal. A guy that led the country in passing this past season with over 4,000 yards. He has what it takes to be an NFL quarterback and to lead a power conference school to the playoffs. There are 2 teams that have been linked to him significantly, and that is Indiana and Oklahoma State. Ultimately, I do believe Oklahoma State is where he ends up, but this is a really talented quarterback that has incredible tools and maybe the best arm in the entire country. The ball flies out of his hands. He's a good athlete. He's got size. I think he is a guy that is going to get a lot of money. I think every school that needs a quarterback is going to try to contact him, whether that is Indiana or Texas Tech or Cincinnati or whoever might be looking for a quarterback, Miami, TCU. I'm expecting Drew Mestemaker to have an incredible market. Ultimately, if I had to pick, I think he goes back to Oklahoma State, reunites with Eric Morris, and the Big 12 was wide open next year. I think there's a chance for them to do something really special. But I'd love to hear from you guys. Who do you think is the best quarterback in the portal? Where do you have them going? Leave a like on this video, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.